The most stunning thing about this PV is not the content of the video, but rather the obscure and difficult to understand copywriting. It includes a large number of allusions and some historical facts. Combined with feng shui, celestial phenomena, and divination, it tells the story of a turbulent era that is about to begin. The Hive Mother will have some changes. The Domain 9 will no longer be at peace. The villainous forces collude with darkness in a sinister way. They seek to overturn the universe and upset the balance of the world. But all of their actions are understandable from their perspective. They treat all living beings as chess pieces and the world as their game board. They seek a way to survive and pursue eternal life. Without further ado, let's begin our analysis. At the beginning of the scene, the pattern carved on the stone wall is that of a bird with 3 heads. Xiao Feng checked it out. There is a similar description of a creature in the classic of mountains and seas. Its name is Chongfu. It has 3 heads, 6 eyes, and 6 legs. In the PV, only the 3-headed design was used. There's also a multi-headed bird in the classic of mountains and seas. It is called the lay bird. Its body looks like a magpie, but it only has 2 heads. The reason why it is considered as a former is unclear. Apart from the difference in number of heads, there may be others similarities between the lay bird and the magpie. It may also be because the characteristics of the two are different. The lay bird is a sacred bird that can avoid fire. It is immune to and can repel flames. It can be said to be a guardian-like existence. However, Changfu is different. Eating its meat can transfer the divine energy to a person's body. This allows a person to work tirelessly. This characteristic is very suitable for the masked woman's manipulation of people who have fallen down. When the masked woman passed by here, the falling maple leaves instantly dissipated, as if they were annihilated. Decaying wood blooms, rotten grass becomes fireflies. Yes, the first sentence is easy to understand. Decayed trees can also bloom flowers. But what about rotten grass becomes fireflies? This is a misunderstanding from ancient times. We all know that fireflies are born from eggs. But the ancient people didn't know that. They thought fireflies were transformed from the rotten grass itself. These 2 sentences are about the destruction and rebirth of things. Destruction is not the end. It is the beginning of a new life. This is also the core of this PV. As the masked woman passed by, the plants withered. She herself represents destruction. There is a small detail here. There is a ring-shaped ornament on her ankle. The last one who had such an ornament was Lan. At first, I thought it was just a common decoration in the Domain 9. But as more characters were released later on, it was discovered that only Lan and she had this kind of ornament. Whether there's a special relationship between the two, we'll have to wait for the subsequent plot to unfold. The masked woman walked out of the garden. It is evident that she has just obtained some power. Life and death are illusory, karma is clear. What is meant by illusory? It means disappearing like an illusion or mirage. Karma is a concept in Buddhism. Everything is subject to the law of karma. As you sow, so shall you reap. Everything is clear and understandable. On the ground lies a broken butterfly. What's interesting here is the symbolism of the broken butterfly. What does broken butterfly mean? Beaten by wind and rain. Experienced the vicissitudes of butterfly life. Its wings were scraped by trees. Its body was tormented by time. It can be said that they have worked hard in their own butterfly life. But in the end, they still return to death. The remnants of butterflies are not just butterflies. At the same time, they are also people under the control of the masked woman. More likely, it is herself. Coming like a drifting weed, going like morning dew. Drifting means remote and desolate. Weed refers to withered weeds. During life, one is like a weed. No one cares. Going away is like morning dew. And when death comes, it's like the morning dew. I don't know how many people have seen morning dew. When the first ray of sunshine appears, the dew evaporates with the heat. It disappears just like that, unnoticed. Most people in this world are like that. Just like the butterfly in the picture. If she hadn't picked it up, no one would have cared about the existence or disappearance of a butterfly. This kind of thinking will run through the entire PV. Heaven and earth are not kind. They see all things as straw dogs. All things are in order, and everything returns to the darkness. Everything follows the rules. All things will eventually come to an end in death. This is the ultimate truth in the world. No living creature can escape this cycle. But the masked woman doesn't believe it. She insists on going against the natural order. The special effects displayed here are the hexagrams in the Book of Changes. The expression of the hexagrams is through long and short horizontal lines. Long lines represent yang in the hexagrams. Short lines represent yin in the hexagrams. Unfortunately, I counted and there are 15 hexagrams. There probably isn't any significant interpretation meaning to it. If there were 12 hexagrams, they could correspond to the 12 earthly branches. End of hexagram. The butterfly has obtained rebirth. It has come back to life. But did it really come back to life? Pay attention to the color of the butterfly's wings. It has turned completely black. Horizontal flute and vertical xiao. The masked woman is playing the xiao. The xiao is longer than the flute. This is very likely her weapon. There is a small detail here. It's the position of the lips when playing the xiao. For this, I specifically looked up real-life playing. I found that the video is still very faithful to reality. The position of the lips is very particular. The notes played on the xiao come from the ancient pentatonic scale. That is gong, chang, ju, ji, and yu. The masked woman uses the sound of the xiao as a prelude. This triggered the black butterfly. The PV shown this time displays a complete raid operation. The timeline takes place before the opening of the celestial gate. And the infiltration of the black butterfly is precisely to activate the teleportation array. Launch a surprise attack unexpectedly. The remnant butterfly returns to its dream, lingering in this place. It refers to the investigation of the black butterfly. The distant scene shows the Wuji mountain. Compared to the earliest PV, there are still some changes in the map. There are also more details now. Pay attention to the buildings here. A beam of light is being launched into the sky. In Tower Fantasy, this type of building all corresponds to teleportation portals. I can't help but wonder how big the Domain 9 area is this time. The version update this time is for Ignisville. Does the Domain 9 really contain 9 areas? Will these teleportation portals transport players across areas? The butterfly flies up to the sky. 3 new characters are sightseeing on the spaceship. It's just unknown whether we can also sit on the edge of the ship at that time. Have a tacit understanding and communicate with each other through the clouds and mountains. The butterfly and the masked woman understand each other's thoughts, and the butterfly can serve as her eyes. Yunxia refers to the mountain peaks shrouded in clouds and mist. The butterfly is indeed shuttling through the mountains. Parting is unbearable, and even the constellation Novus in Altair is hard to attend to. The image displayed here is Ms. Yu. Parting refers to the relationship between the masked woman and her. I wonder what kind of bond there will be between them. Xinjiang refers to the stars Canopus and Altair. The 2 stars appear and disappear in the sky. Ancient people use this to metaphorize opposition between each other. They are not harmonious and are estranged from family and friends. Here it refers to the relationship between the 2. Ms. Yu looked at the butterfly on the chessboard. She seemed to be lost in thought. But in the end, she still watched it leave. This reminds me of Gagouzi, a philosopher of the school of diplomacy during the Warring States period. He had two outstanding disciples. They were Su Qin and Zhang Yi. Su Qin advocated the strategy of vertical lines. He then went to persuade the Six States. He advocated for the Six States to join forces to resist Qin's aggression. On the other hand, Zhang Yi advocated the strategy of horizontal lines. He defected to the state of Qin. He used the horizontal lines strategy to break the vertical lines. He helped Qin to unify the Six States. It is speculated that the relationship between Miz Yu and the masked woman is also similar. Miz Yu advocated for the strategy of vertical alliance, joining forces with everyone to resist the gray space entity together. However, the route chosen by the masked woman is different. She wants to help the Hive Mother unify the world. Once upon a time, both Su Qin and Zhang Yi were working towards peace in the world. Reality has proven that the unification of Qin was correct. But will it be the same in the Tower of Fantasy? There are two ways to resolve disputes: maintaining balance or unifying. Our current Earth is a product of maintaining balance. The balance is maintained by the mutual restraint between the powers. This is also very similar to what happens in Assyria. Although there are many powers, but they are restrained by each other. As a result, there is peaceful development. However, the appearance of the gray space entity has disrupted this balance. It is powerful and has extraordinary strength. Compared to the Domain 9, Vera and Assyria, the gray space entity is like the Qin state during the Warring States period. However, this also makes me very curious. What is the purpose of the gray space entity? The relationship between the masked woman and Miz Yu is not ordinary. She should not be a person who cannot distinguish right from wrong, since she is willing to help the Hive Mother. It shows that the ultimate goal of the Hive Mother is also the result she wants. What benefits can she gain by helping the Hive Mother? Duckweed, cardamom, white bones, and red beauty. The term cardamom comes from Dumu, who is known as Little Li Du in Chinese literature. Duckweed is the environment she is in. Cardamom refers to the characters such as the little blue dragon in the picture. However, everything will eventually turn into white bones. The common people and the ignorant man and the idiot dream talker. Qianzhou was a term used by the Qin country during the Warring States period to refer to commoners. Interestingly, it was mentioned in the book Discourses on the Fall of Qin. Burning the words of 100 schools to deceive the ignorant common people. Why burning the words of 100 schools? In order to make the common people stupid. That's what's called the policy of keeping the people ignorant. I won't go into detail about it here. It's a bit politically sensitive. Those who are interested can search for more information on their own. The policy of keeping the people ignorant is not just a product of one era. It is a policy that is beneficial for ruling and governing. Driving away wolves and swallowing tigers, they gang up with the same origin. Expelling wolves by steering tigers comes from a strategy in the Three Kingdoms period. It was proposed by Sun Yu, the chief strategist of Cao Cao. It is similar to the strategy borrowing a knife to kill in the 36 stratagems, but it has some differences. Literally speaking, it means to drive the tiger to swallow the wolf. In the original work, Cao Cao did use this strategy to instigate infighting between Yuan Shu and Liu Bei. The world is in chaos, and the lords are numerous. Every leader with an army can be called a tiger. At this time, Liu Bei had no power yet. Compared to Yuan Shu, he was like a weaker wolf. Inside the Tower of Fantasy, the tiger corresponds to the antagonist force of the Domain 9, while the wolf corresponds to the resistance force led by Miz Yu. The one who benefits from this later on is naturally the Hive Mother. The meaning of being cahoots with the same root is the same as being cahoots with complicity. It means people with similar bad habits or characteristics band together. The Hive Mother has such a relationship with the antagonist force. Mars, Inghua, guards the heart, and Saturn, Chang'e, accompanies the moon. Inghua refers to the planet Mars. Mars follows a specific orbit where it appears to guard the heart. In ancient times, observing celestial phenomena was used to predict the fortunes of the country. The movement of that was considered a sign of great misfortune in ancient Chinese astronomy. Chang'e is another name for the planet Venus in Chinese astronomy. The phrase about Chang'e refers to a celestial phenomenon where the planet Venus appears close to the moon in the sky. In ancient Chinese astronomy, the phenomenon of the moon covered Venus was also considered a sign of misfortune. This was believed to be an omen of an impending war. Black butterflies dancing in the sky. The prelude to the attack has already begun. The overwhelming butterfly attack is heading towards the Great Wall, overturning the universe, reversing the cosmos. Liuhe is a term used in metaphysics. It refers to the relationship between the 12 earthly branches. These two sentences can be directly understood as the world is in great chaos. The situation is chaotic. Indeed, reversing the cosmos is an interesting phrase. The Ashen Dominion originated from the sky. The butterflies gathered together in the sky. They transformed into a teleportation portal. Why it's not Abyss Current? That is because Abyss Current are portals that come from other dimensions. And now, the monsters that appear are not from Vera. It's more like a well-organized army being deployed. A big guy appeared from the portal. The appearance of this big guy is very similar to Zhu Yan in Classic of Mountains and Seas, plus the appearance of a three-headed bird. The gray space entity in the Domain 9 is likely to be inspired by Classic of Mountains and Seas for its creation. Everyone used their abilities to fight against the gray space entity. The one using a calligraphy brush is Liuhe. The name was displayed after the special effects explosion. The enemy with an umbrella-shaped object can also be seen clearly in slow motion. The one below has a head. Lon and Kanro were swung away by the big guy's arm. At this moment, Zeke makes a brilliant appearance. He cut down the big guy with just one slash. We also know the development of the plot afterwards. Yes, it is indeed the first exposure PV video. Defeating the big guy was Zeke's first appearance. And it was because of his outstanding performance that he was recruited by Liuhe and brought before Miz Yu. Everything makes sense now. After meeting with Miz Yu, Zeke began to help Lon and others resist the gray space entity. After that, they arrived at the battlefield for the final showdown. The Scarlet Palace and Jade Halls, reduced to ashes and flame. This is an exclamation from the narrator. No matter how magnificent the architecture, it will eventually turn into dust. Every being has its role, giving the world its marvel. No matter what kind of creature, even if it's a human, will eventually turn into fertile soil. Heaven and earth are not kind, treating all things as straw dogs. This sentence is from Lao Zi's Tao Te Ching. But in fact, followed another sentence. The sage is not kind, treating the people as straw dogs. The politics behind it are too serious. Let's focus on the front sentence. There are two explanations about it. One is the merciless will of heaven. It shows no mercy towards all things. All life is nothing but a sacrificial offering. Many novels about defying the heavens were born from this. The other is the heartless nature of the world. It is fair to all things, whether it is for good or for evil. Heavens will treat all equally. In the eyes of heaven's will, everything is nothing more than a mere existence like livestock. Just as you wouldn't care about two ants fighting, because there's no right or wrong between them. Heavens will also doesn't care about the right or wrong of the disputes between living beings. That's also why the masked woman chose to help the Hive Mother. Heavens will doesn't care about right or wrong at all. Then who is there to judge whether she is right or wrong? The scene has now switched to a high platform. Looking at the railings around, it's different from before when we were on the Great Wall. Pay attention to the people present again. apart from the Domain 9 team. None of the soldiers are standing. This indicates two possibilities. The first possibility is that their brought soldiers were completely defeated. The second possibility is that all the fallen ones are enemies. A black butterfly floats by. The person on the ground moved slightly. But Zeke had no response. It can also be seen from here that it's the second situation now. If it's the first situation, soldier is seriously injured. No one helps. That's too cold and indifferent. The butterfly cast a spell on the fallen person. Soon after, the soldiers began to mutate one after another. At the same time, their skin turned gray. The kettle rings and the clock abandoned. This sentence is from the sacrifice to Chu Yuan. Chu Yuan is a great figure in history. He was upright and resolute and threw himself into the river to demonstrate his determination. The meaning of the kettle rings and the clock is abandoned is: when treacherous officials hold power, loyal and upright people are falsely accused. Facing mountain and looking back at the past, Lingtai succession. Lingtai is the earliest national observatory in China. In the early Western Zhou dynasty, King Wen of Zhou built Lingtai in Xi'an. It was used to observe celestial phenomena and perform sacrificial ceremonies. These two sentences are both a review and reflection on history. No matter the long river of time, or the establishment of Lingtai, they are all continuations of history. The green mountains and trees hide 1,000 miles of resentment. Of course, the green mountains and trees do not have any resentment. But what about the loyal bones and hot blood buried within them? Every inch of our land is soaked with blood. Buried within it is also the same resentment towards war. All along, we have only treated the gray space entity as an invasive organism. But what if they are also creatures that should exist on this planet? Then what arises between the two sides is a war of survival. It's not hard to see from Rebellia. The hatred between humans and the gray space entity has long been irreconcilable. Blood is shed, hearts are burning, bones are collected, and souls are silent. It describes both sides in the midst of war. The current situation of the fierce fighting, about the mask worn by the veiled woman. So far, there is still no clue. It looks like a fox mask, but without ears. Instead, it has two horns. A mask with horns should be a demon. However, the mask is not so ferocious. It is speculated that the prototype of the mask is likely to be a gray space entity. This is consistent with her identity of being associated with the gray space entity. As dark as I am, the universe will continue to thrive. This sentence sounds quite edgy. Darkness always accompanies me, I am the darkness. However, this viewpoint is very extreme. As long as everything is shrouded in darkness, then there will be no more conflicts in nature. But the conflicts are just my speculation. The true purpose of the masked woman is still unknown. The narration must be distinguished from the dialogue in this PV. Although the copy is rather obscure, but it has a similar style to the copy of Vera. Both express the current situation and raise questions and contradictions. The Domain 9 are facing more than just the gray space entity. There's also the existence of antagonistic forces. They believe that the Hive Mother can bring them what they want. As for how it will unfold later, it remains to be seen. Let's wait and see. This is the end of this episode. Follow Xiaofeng. Take you to experience a different tower of fantasy.